I've got the last week of statistics for 2022 in hand, and we may be seeing some trends that are gelling that will carry us through into 2023. We'll get into those in just a minute. And then at the very end of the video, I'm going to have some ins and outs for home decor, staging, design, leaving 2022. What are we looking forward to in 2023? I'll have that at the very end. I'm Ron Milligan with RE/MAX Select here in Portland's Pearl District, and as always, I've got the latest market statistics for you. Let's dive right in. First up is the inventory. So the supply side of the supply and demand equation, inventory continues to fall. It was a big this week from the previous week that we've been seeing, almost 300 homes fewer. It's a decline of 7% from the previous week. However, when we do compare that to last year, it's more than like 125% more listings this year versus the same time last year. Not a surprise, last year at this time, it was probably the lowest inventory of homes available to purchase that I've ever seen in the Portland metro area. New listings were up 22% compared to the previous week, but the previous week was really, really low. That was the week before Christmas. Not a lot of properties hit the market in Christmas. So a jump from the previous week, but really a negligible amount in the end. Price reductions were also up 42%, 142 price reductions, lower than what we've typically been seeing up until Christmas. So again, comparing it to a quiet week, the week of Christmas, significant jump from the week of Christmas, but compared to the typically 300 to 400 price reductions that we've been seeing in weeks prior to that, not a big number. So looking at the demand side of the supply and demand equation, we did have fewer new transactions go under contract. So 224, and that's down 26% from the previous week, that week before Christmas, which last week we kind of looked at that number and thought, well, it was higher than we thought it was going to be. So we'll watch that and see what happens in the new year. The first couple of weeks of January are probably going to be pretty quiet, but towards the end of January and into February, that's where we're going to start to pay attention to how many transactions are going under contract. I really want to see how many buyers will be coming to the market with our spring buying season, and how many sellers will as well. These numbers aren't really telling us much just because it's the second holiday week in a row. The average sale price rallied this last week, up 3% versus the same time period last year. If you remember, 3 weeks ago, the number was down 3.4%, so in the negative territory versus the previous year. The following week, it was down 3.3%, kind of making us think that that might be the beginning of a trend, but then it sort of rallied. And what I think is interesting is that the median sale price had been +1 3 weeks ago, -1 last week, and this week it's right at 0. So I'm starting to feel like maybe the number, because we're dealing with a small sample of numbers here, which can be kind of volatile, they can swing around. But as we're averaging this and seeing the last 3 weeks, we might be settling in about a 0 rate of appreciation / depreciation this year versus last year. And again, kind of a couple of off weeks. We'll see what happens as we get into January and February, whether or not that trend starts to gel. The thing that kind of is catching my attention is that, remember back in the third quarter of 2022, Moody's came out with their predictions for various markets across the country. And in Portland, they had predicted that our average sale price in 2023 would be down 0.6%, so less than 1% down. And then in 2024, we would probably be up 0.5%. So kind of a bit of a wash over the next 2 years. So sort of a flat rate of appreciation / depreciation for the metro area. For the homes that did sell, on average, sellers had to come off their original asking price by 6%. So homes are selling at 94% of the original asking price. Remember last week when I said this week, because we're going to be bridging 2022 to 2023 in our statistics, we're going to see a lot of expired listings because folks, agents and sellers will list their properties to expire at the very end of the year. And then if they want to continue with the market, relist January 1st in 2023 so that they get a brand new 2023 MLS number and they shed the old 2022 MLS number. And that happened. You can see here that the number of expired listings was up 731%. So that's not a whole bunch of people leaving the market. It's just a strategic thing that agents and sellers are doing to have their listings expire, get a new MLS, and then come back to the market. So I did promise I would show you some trends. I saw this, it was in the Wall Street Journal, and I'll put a link to the article down below in the description section. It's by Catherine O'Shea Evans of the Wall Street Journal, and her predictions on what we're going to see for style and design for home decor in the next year, what's out and what's in. So I'll let those run right here as I just finish up with a couple of things. So RMLS probably next week is going to have their end of year wrap up for how our market did. You know, at the end of 2022, how were we doing? One of the statistics that you're probably going to see is the year to date, or the 12 month. So comparing the all of 2021 to 2022, which is typically how we sort of rate appreciation. That's how we calculate appreciation, comparing 12 months to 12 month. That's going to be a little deceptive this year, you know, because in November, that 12-month rolling was at 7.8% appreciation. So we're higher 7.8% over the most recent 12 months versus the previous 12 months. Probably a little bit deceptive, but it was where we thought we were going to land, you know, back in April or so when we're looking at the numbers, thinking where we would end the year. I was thinking we're probably going to land around 7%, and we're probably going to be just above 7%. So right where we thought we were going to be. If we compare, for example, September, October, and November of 21 to 22, the average sale price of those months, what was the difference? It's going to show us what the market is actually doing. So September was up 4.8%, October was only up 2.8%, November was up 1.6% at the same month that rolling average was up 7.8, so 1.6%. I suspect that we're going to see the December numbers probably around 1%, maybe if not a little bit lower, and then we'll see where we end up in the next year. So that's what I have for you today. Thank you, as always, for watching the video to the very end. Thumbs up and subscriptions are always appreciated, and I would love it if you'd share this video with someone who might find this information helpful. As always, all real estate is local, so we have markets inside markets inside markets. And if you're curious about what's going on in your specific area, always feel free to reach out to me or throw a comment down below. And also let me know what you think of the Wall Street Journal's predictions for design and decor for homes in 2023. Throw a comment down below. And I'll see you next week.